Hello, hello everyone! It is that time of day yet again where we engage in some goofy little Corona-themed dance classes that are designed for everybody. So today we are doing Down with the Sickness, modern dance floor work. We do have to give a shout out for our title as it was suggested by a longtime friend of mine named David Vartanian, who is I believe, postdoc at Berkeley University in astrophysics. So David's a good friend of mine from high school and beyond, and we've actually even done some crossover work together. So we infinitely want to send love and good vibes his way. And of course, awesome title for today. So today we are going to be doing some floor work. So everything will be on the ground. Unfortunately, this one does require a little more space, but you are welcome to modify anything that we do so that it best fits your environment. I'm not wearing my AmboDance Theater shirt today, unfortunately, but I do have it displayed here in the background. So if you would like to purchase one and support our company a little bit, you can do so just by following the information attached to this video. Send us an email, we will deliver it for free. One word of warning before we get started. As I've said in kind of all the other videos, I do have two very needy cats named Yoko and John Lennon, who sometimes like to join in on the fun or flop themselves down in the middle of the fun. They're not very good students, so if they happen to join in, throw them a little Yoko or Lennon, or I call Lennon Moo, but throw them some love. Maybe encourage them to participate a little better next time. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to throw on some percussion music for us today. Okay, so this first exercise is kind of a 7-step follow along floor warm-up that starts to wake up some of those initiation points, gets our spine active and ready to work. So I'll kind of talk you through it as we transition from step to step. It'll go nice and slow so you can catch on. I'm just going to start laying on my back. My feet are bent up. My heels are right beneath my sits bones. My arms are out to the side, palms up. I want to take a moment to just relax here. Breathe a little bit. Now I'm going to start. My knees are going to drip to the side, and my top leg is going to take a swing and back up. So all this is as my knees drip to the other side now, my toe traces along the floor, and then I come rejoin myself back in center. So it's like I'm letting loose in my hips. Let's try it for you. 7, 8. We swing and swing, up, swing, and up, swing, and up. Let's do 4 more. Make sure you're pressing that back into the floor every time you go through center. Actually, do 4 more. We want to think of not stopping, but the movement always being continuous. Let the weight of your body carry you. Last one and up. Now, part 2 of this involves just one leg moving. It's going to swing across, and then it's going to swing open like this. So we swing across like we just have been. Then that leg traces down, and I kind of flex the foot. So now it's my baby toe on the floor to swing open. So swing across, swing open. Cross, and open. We're going to do this one a little slower because 1, it's a little harder to work into the body. And 2, if we go too fast, we can't do it to the full extent. We're going to start in 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. Swing slow. 2, 3, Press down, open. 2 more. Press and down, open and down. Press and down, open. Back up to center and I'm going to adjust. Maybe you've been sliding down just like I have. It's totally normal. So now we're moving into part 2 of our 7-step warm-up. It's a progression. So we've gotten these hip joints loosened up. Now we want to start moving that into our spine and our shoulders. So I'm going to start by dripping to my right. The weight of that is going to carry my arm long overhead around. Now I could just reach fingertip to fingertip, but that wouldn't be going to the maximum extent of my body's ability to curve. What I really want to do, head relaxed to the floor, reach past those fingertips so my forehead actually ends up in the floor. Keep going all the way, and then that shoulder, the weight of that arm opens me back up onto my back. So on the other side, knees drip, arm stretches over, all the way into my forehead, all the way around, pulling me onto my back. So we're just going to keep going back and forth with that, and then we'll switch the direction in a minute. 5, 6, nice and slow. Drip, 2, 3, 4, around, and open. Drip, over, 3, 4, around, and open. Drip, notice my whole foot stays in the floor right now when I come through center. Drip, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Drip, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feel loose in your body. Drip, 2, 3, 4, over, and drip, over. Drip, over. 2 more. Drip, over. Last one, drip, over. 5, 6, 7, 8. So now, part 2 of this one is we're going to continue the same thing, but the arm, instead of circling overhead, is going to go down. So we're reversing the circle, and then from here, that shoulder opens up to bring us back into our neutral position. Knees drip, arm goes down, around, up over the head. Let the weight of the arm carry you over. So there's a spiraling, a twisting going on in your spine. That's what we want to wake up. This heavy body in the floor, so we don't want to tense everything, but also allowing the weight of the body to pull us back to a neutral position. Let's try 8 of those. 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. Drip, 2, 3, 4, over. 6, 7, 8. Drip, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep it moving. Drip. Working this twisting of the spine. Now we're working it front to back. Rolling up, roll up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and down. Top of the spine. 5, into our X. So right now, I don't want to think about having super strong pointed dancer feet. I want to think long, but I don't want to think tense. So from here, I'm lengthened, but I'm also released into the floor. And I'm going to think of contracting these side abdominals. So why don't we start just by taking a little swish back and forth. My legs are free, my arms are free. I'm like a big old windshield wiper, waking up my oblique abdominals. Okay. Now we're going to start that with a curl into a primary curve. Once you see it, you can probably guess why it's called a primary curve. So I'm curving to my right, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. I curve on my side until I can't go any further, and then I start rounding in. So that's my primary curve because it looks like the primary position our body is in when we are a fetus in the womb. From here, my top arm and top leg are going to be the first to release out and down and start opening up to bring me onto my back. I don't flop because I'm reversing the sequencing that got me there. Other side, curve, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Reverse, top arm, top leg. 5, 6, 7, 8. To the right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Top arm, top leg. 3, 4. I'm engaged the whole time. To the left. And back out, top arm, top leg, into my X, wide arms and legs, curve. Try not to get narrow and become a pencil. Especially women, we're taught to not take up space in society. This is your bed hog moment here. And back out. Let's do 2 more. Contract in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last one, curve. Okay. So now that we've got that one down, we're going to make it a little more complicated. We're going to go a little faster. Actually, let's go at the same speed, just to make sure our body's nice and warm. So we'll curve in for 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now is where it's going to get a little faster. We're going to expand into our secondary curve, which is kind of the exact opposite of our primary. So from here, we're growing into an X on our side. I'm actually arching through my back, so I'm not flat, because that's really hard to balance. I'm arching back, my leg is behind me, this arm is behind me, I shouldn't see either arm. And my head is in line with my spine, so a gentle curve outward. And then from here, it's going to get punched in the stomach, I'm contracting it all back in. And then we'll take another 8 count to come back out. So it's a 3-8 count, which will be awkward musically, but who cares, it's Saturday. So we curve, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, expand, 2, 3, 4, contract, 6, 7, 8, back out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, curve to your right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and out, 2, 3, 4, and in, 6, 7, 8, and rolling out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, again on the left. And out, bring it in, and opening up. Curve to the right. 4 counts out. Oh, Yoko's not happy about it. Opening up. faster. We're gonna start learning how to come up and out of the floor in body efficient ways. So from here, I'm gonna take 4 counts to curve in. 6, to my right, curve in, 2, 3, 4. Now, from here, my top arm and top leg, which are so important to so much of what I'm doing, they're going to make a big circle in front of me. So I'm tracing this big pathway to come up and out into this seated position. Then I'm going to reverse that pathway. Down and around, my elbow catches the floor to curve in and back out into my X. So everything's in 4s. We go curve 1, 2, 3, 4, around and up, 7, 8, down to my primary curve, out and around. We curve, top arm, top leg, and down and around, out, to the left, curve in, shoot it up and around. Down and around. Find my X to go, curve to the right. Shoot up and around. Down and around. Out to my X. And again. Out and up. Down. Find the primary curve. Last 2. This is step 6, by the way, out of 7. And curve. Try and keep everything connected. And there we are. So this next one involves going a little further with what we just did. And also a little faster now that we're nice and warm. So we're first going to curve and come up just like we had. But instead of stopping here and kind of rebounding back to the floor, I'm going to roll over that position to my other side. I'm going to face you just so you can see what my body's doing here. So once I have rolled over, she likes me, I swear. Once we've rolled over, I'm going to take this arm and sweep it. So it's kind of like, I don't want to have it be floppy like I'm kind of doing it right now, but it has kind of a swinging energy to it. So the arm is going to round this way. I'm going to contract through my core, and this leg is going to swing across just like we did in step 1 of this 7-step progression. So what that looks like, I'm also going to be pressing up out of the floor when I do this. So let's pretend I've just come out of the floor. I keep rolling. This leg swings. So we see rounded C curve. My toe is tracing the floor. My arm is rounded. I'm kind of peeking under it. Sit back down. Swing to the other side. Whoop. Roll and sit, swing, whoop. Roll and sit. And this is my last one, my 5th one. Everything happens on 5s in this one. So on the 5th one, that's when I roll back down and find onto my side, back out into my X where I started. So this is where it gets a little faster again. That primary curve to begin with is really fast. We go. Curve 1, 2, 3, 4, swing 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other side, sitting up. 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, do just one more time, right and left, because I know this one's a little complicated. We've already been warming up a lot, and we want to get into the juicy stuff. So we're here. We're going to let's go to our left first. Mix it up a little bit. 5, 6, to our left. Curve, and up, and swing, and sit. Second swing, and sit. Third. Fourth. Last one. 5, and around and down, curve, and up, and swing. Swing. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you're there. Yeah, just take a moment, kind of wiggle it out, flex your feet. See how your body's feeling now when you're doing some of these exercises. Take a little breathing. And then let's curl onto one side. Walk ourselves up with our hands. And of course, get some water. So, I always keep my water right here. You may need to run and get some because I did forget to remind us at the beginning to have it handy. But that kind of progression right there was working different parts of our body and different initiation points, a lot of which came from the core. But we did do some knees initiating movement and then arm initiating movement. So lots of different points we worked on there. And we're just going to kind of keep extending that further and further as we go. And I do promise you, that is the longest one because it has that 7 steps and it's our warm-up. A lot of classes that I have witnessed or seen can often sacrifice the length of a warm-up. Honestly, it is one of the most important parts for your body to get in the zone. If you really want to have a truly deep practice, I really encourage you go longer on the warm-up than you think you should, because the warm-up should be just as applicable to what you're doing, not just that thing you got to get through. So hopefully you will see some of what we've been working on and the way it applies to kind of these extensions that we're building out of here. All right. I can hear through the Facebook Live gods that we are ready to go, so let's go for it. So we're going to be working on something called undercuts, which are another way of transitioning kind of through and out of that primary curve. So I'm going to do them coming toward you because I think it will be a little easier to see. And I'm going to start way back here. So the way this begins, I go into my primary curve on my right side. Now, this bottom arm, which we've kind of neglected, in fact, I'll scoot and angle toward you a little more. I'm going to press into my shoulder and my hip into the floor a little bit, so there's some space under here where this bottom arm can sneak through. Now that it's behind me, I can open up into an X on my stomach. Again, I don't want to be narrow. We're not going for pencil mode. We want bed hog mode. So from here, I'm going to the left hand because I want to keep traveling in the same direction. That one's going to come around. I'm going to flip the hand over and it's going to come toward my waist as well. I'm going to rotate onto that side and lift up, pressing the shoulder and hip into the floor again. So now I'm in my primary curve on the opposite side. So let me do that whole thing again. We were here. I curve, press my shoulder and hip to lift my waist, slide the arm under, expand out into an X on the floor. My left hand is going to come toward me as I curl onto my side, and it goes under in that same spot as I press the shoulder and hip into the floor. So those are undercuts, because we're used to a lot of spiraling movement, which we will be getting into a little bit. But we're used to a lot of spiraling movement that kind of just uses this air space and not into the floor space and body space. This is kind of a sneaky way to get through that. So, one more time and then we'll tap some stuff on. We go curve, undercut, curve, undercut. Now from here, I'm going to do what's called a body half. In a body half, I need to make sure that my head and neck are not tensing up, but they're actually releasing into the floor. But I take half of my body, arm and leg. It opens like a book. The other half follows only when it has to. So I'm not trying to keep this rolling together and using the core. It's really just opening and folding back. Opening and folding back. Opening and folding back. One more time, opening and folding back. Okay, so once I have done my undercut, I'm going to do 4 body halves. One side, other, one side, other. So I should end up right where I started, which in this case was here. From here, my top leg is going to reach away from me. The bottom leg is also going to expand. So my legs are kind of like scissors right now. My top arm is going to reach behind me. My bottom arm is going to reach out. So we're just getting a little brief stretch in this position. New pathway for this arm that's behind me is going to trace overhead as I contract everything back in. So one more time, that top leg went straight out in front of me, bottom leg went straight down. Top arm opened up, bottom arm opened up. So my chest is rotated towards the ceiling and my hips are kind of rotating down toward the floor. Arm overhead to curl everything back in. One more time, expand to the spiral, curve overhead. One more time, expand to the spiral, a curve overhead. From here, we already know this one. We're going to expand to our secondary curve. And we're going to bring it back in. And we already know this one as well. Top arm, top leg, open up to reset so we can do the other side. So let's walk through that other side. I'm going to move a little this way. So I start by curving onto my left side. I lift through here so that my left arm can see underneath. Find that wide bed hog X. Right arm curves toward my waist. I lift up through the shoulder and hips to bring it in. Then I start to open, body half, and close. This is my second one. There's 4 total. Close. Don't think that your legs need to be small. They can be very expansive. And close. And this is about taking up space. Last one. And close. So from here, top arm reaches behind me. Top leg reaches the other direction. Expand. Curve overhead. Expand into my secondary curve. Contract back in. And top arm, top leg, releasing back out into my X. All right, we're going to try it a couple times. We're going to keep it slow so that we really get the hang of things. And we can really focus then on our body's integration of our muscles, because when we go quickly, a lot of that is what gets sacrificed. New music. We're going to do everything in 4. 5, involve you using your body in ways that are not very typical. A lot of people have complained to me in the past about, oh, my shoulders are bruising. And yes, sometimes they will, because your shoulder isn't necessarily used to the pressure of having to take in that weight when you slide this arm underneath you. So things that can help with that: one, repetition. Your body will get used to it and it will stop getting ouchy and bruisey if you enjoy that pathway. If you don't, well, you don't have to do it again. Also, you will notice I am wearing long sleeves. That helps me slide on this sort of surface. When I first learned these, I remember I was wearing a tank top and my shoulders were on fire. So I completely understand all of those learning curve pains because I went through them too. As always, hydration break. And we'll take another moment to always remind you guys that we are here. We are doing this mainly to give you guys an outlet for exploring new things. If you've never danced before, if you're a continuing dancer, to just kind of get back into your body, because I know many of us have completely separate careers outside of our dancing as well, in order to support ourselves. So it's an outlet, it's an opportunity to try new things, but ultimately at the end of the day, our studios are kind of the main spaces that we want to continue to support. Many studios are suffering as a result of what's kind of going on in the world right now. Many small businesses in general, not just gyms and studios and that sort of thing. So the best thing that we can do, even if we are coming here and kind of getting some time to practice, continue to support your studios as much as you can. Talk to the people that own them. See if you can buy gift cards, or really what the best thing that you can do for them that's also feasible for you to make sure they're in business. So when all is said and done, we can go back to our home spaces. And for us, that is Dance Sensation Studios here in Louisville, Kentucky. So they have been a big support for us, and we want to continue to support them as best we can. Or whichever studios you guys go to are equally as important. They are a part of your family and your mental health and all sorts of other fantastic things. So this next exercise is pretty quick. It won't take us very long to get through, but it kind of drives home the point of different initiation points. In this time in particular, distal, far away from the center of our body. So we're going to find that X one more time, and then in our final little combination we do after this, we'll be getting out of that X more and more into some more complicated pathways and patterns, so you can really see where some of this stuff can go. So our spiral, which we already started playing with here in this moment, that's what we're going to be playing with. Now I can lead my spiral with a variety of things, but we're going to be focusing on the hands and the toes or the feet. So from my X, if I were to lead a full spiral roll with my leg, I would want to trace, if I want to go this way, I need to start from the opposite side to kind of flip myself over. So I carry my right leg over my left, reaching it far, far away. I want to kind of keep track of that arm behind me, and it's like there's a tug of war going on between my right foot and my right hand or wrist and ankle. So I've got two people pulling, so I'm thinking long, 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 but the person who's at my ankle is winning. So they're pulling. This arm circles overhead, still tracing the floor to find my big bed hog X on my stomach. Again, really think bed hog. How can I get nice and wide, not narrow? A lot of people have a tendency to end up narrow, especially when they're in their X on their stomach. So my big bed hog X. From here, I'm going to keep with that foot leading. So again, I want to go this way, so that means the opposite side foot needs to lead. So it's going to trace over, and I try, again, tug of war with the wrist. This one starts to slide on the floor over here, and the other one, it's like that tug of war is going on, but the leg is winning, and that carries me over to my other side. So I'm going to try this going back, so you guys can see it on this side as well. If I want to go toward you, So toward my right, left foot traces down and over. Pull, 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 pull. Tug of war between my left wrist and my left ankle, but the ankle is winning over the head, tracing the floor, finding my X. Now leg is gonna lead again. Down, 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 down. Over. My right wrist is trying, but it ultimately ends up going overhead. So again, ultimately we want to create the maximum twist through our spine, okay? And that's with leading with our legs. Let's try just a couple of those. I'll throw on some nice music. Go with your own timing, because I know it takes some time to figure out how to synchronize it all.
All from
We used this music in our Modern for Couch Potatoes class and really enjoyed it, so we're going to try and embody some of that as we do spirals, leading with our feet and legs. Go in your own timing. Thinking along. Opposite leg traces across the body. Big tug of war to pull you over. Leg carries over again. And then when you're ready, you can take back the other way as well. One more time. If you're migrating on the floor, that's okay. Adjust as needed. Whenever you're ready, bring to a close. Okay, so we led with the feet, but we can also lead with the hands. A lot of people seem to find this one a little more challenging, but maybe you feel differently. So let's see. We're here in our X. So again, if I want to go this way, the opposite arm begins. I want to think of it tracing over and reaching to that corner. Now the hard part is I have to leave this leg behind, and this is why I think arm leaning is a little more challenging for most people, is because your hip and your leg are so much heavier than your shoulder and your arm, it takes a little bit more of a pull through this limb. So I need to think of reaching over and really, really pulling into that space. This arm that my head is currently on is going to kind of windshield wiper out into my X. To keep going that way, to my right, the left arm is going to need to carry up and over. So I still find that spiral through my body. This bottom leg is going to bend and sneak underneath that long left leg and find my X again. Okay, going back the other way. My arm carries up and over, long reach, big spiral, finding my X on the floor. Right arm carries up and over, like I've opened a book. Bottom leg sneaks underneath the top leg to bring myself back out to the X. One more time each side. Right arm over. Pull, 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 pull from those fingertips, slicing out into my X. Left arm over. Still traveling the same direction. Leg sneaks underneath. And reversing it, going to my right this time. Right arm comes over. Ooh, I think I got hair in my eye. I don't know about you guys, I get really freaked out by bugs. So whenever my own hair hits me in the eye, I have a mini freak out as if a bug has hit me in the eye. Because I'm a ridiculous person. I don't know what else to tell you. For real this time, no hair bugs. Left arm comes over. We're pulling, pulling, pulling. I slide that arm, other leg comes around to the X. Right arm up and over, reaching, reaching, reaching. Bottom leg sneaks underneath. Into my X. Let's try a couple of those on our own timing with music, and maybe you even want to play with leg lead, arm leads, arm, arm, leg, arm. However you want to mix and match them, you can. That's a choreographic decision. And we're actually, when we get to this big combo at the end in a couple minutes, that's exactly what we're going to be doing, is kind of a mix and match of many things that we've learned over the course of this lesson. Leading, going in your own timing. Our big combination, which does involve a little more coming up out of the floor into a downward dog position. So let's talk about what that is really quickly. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to start in our tabletop position here. So my wrists right under my shoulders, my knees right under my hips. From here, I'm going to take my legs out into a plank. And from here, I'm going to think of pressing up. So trying to bring my armpits actually down toward the floor. My heels, I don't want to be up on my toes pushing. I want to allow them to release down, down, down toward the floor. And try and think of lengthening through my lower back, because there's a lot of people that have kind of rounded tension there. So from here, I'm going to be working with rolling down through my spine. To do that, I want to think of rounding, rounding, rounding. So rolling the pelvis toward me, looking at my belly button. And then my head is the last thing to come out once I find this plank. To reverse that up, chin to chest, round, 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 round. And my heels and hips are the last thing to return to their spot. So it's kind of like doing this. If I want to go from here to here, it has to start here, and this elbow has to be the last point of movement, and the last thing to kind of extend back into a flattened position. Same thing if I reverse it, it has to go from this end to that end. So it's to start here and end there. Same thing with my spine. I need to start from here, top of the spine, which really starts at the top of my head. Moving, 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 rounding, rounding, rounding. Base of my spine is the last thing to land. And reversing it, hips, base of the spine starts, top of the spine, head, is the last thing to arrive. So if you don't have that perfectly, again, it's something that you could even just practice. It's a really great way to get your core engaged and involved. But that's our downward dog position, and that's some of the movement that we're going to be doing while we're there. From there, we are going, actually let's backtrack a little bit. And we'll go through the whole phrase, because that's the only new thing that we're doing. Everything else is just a combination and mishmash of stuff that we've already done. So, to begin, we are going to go with our X. I'm going to think of leg leading. So I find this tug of war. However, instead of the arm coming overhead, I'm going to think of the arm going down behind me, so that I end up in a lifted airplane position, but I want to keep turning, turning, turning with it, so my left arm now leads me over. So it's the same thing I just did. It's that spiral that we've done before. I just reversed the direction of the arm, so it's a leg lead, then arm lead. So leg leads, my arm pulls down, the other arm is up, and then I switch which arm is on top, over. Now from here, we're going to do a sort of body half, but it's more just the legs. So it's kind of a fan. So I'm going to have them a little bit bent, over, over, and in. Then this pull through my spine that results from that closing will carry my arm around and in. From here, actually let's just do that because that's the funky part, that very beginning right there. The novel part, lots of novel stuff in the world, novel rolling patterns too. We're going to take that leg leads, arm drops down. As I lift, arm switch, left arm carries me over, left leg fans, right leg fans after it. They close, that carries my right arm overhead and in. So, just re-angling so you can see me best. From here, my top leg is going to shoot out, and it's going to reach, reach, reach to try and pull me up to sit. So I don't want to think of head leading and pulling up because that's a lot of strain and a lot of muscle in my neck and my back that doesn't feel very good. I want to think of sequencing top to bottom, just like we practiced in our downward dog. So I'm sending this hip down. My head is long and heavy as it comes up to sit. From here, I'm continuing this arc of the head to get a side stretch in over this leg. Now, from here, my top arm is I'm going to collapse forward, trace the biggest circle that I can until I can slide out and stretch up. Little stretch. We don't want to go too deep here because we haven't really been working into this particular stretch yet. From here, I tuck my toes, and you guessed it, chin to chest, roll, roll, roll round, up to my downward dog position. I'm going to reverse it back down into a plank. And from here, because we started rolling toward our left, we're going to take our left arm up off the floor. So, lift that left arm, curl it back in. I'll walk you through this whole thing as we try it. Chin to chest, roll, roll, roll up. I'm on my left side, my left leg comes up. I'm going to take a couple seconds. I want to keep traveling that way. I'm going to ooze onto my side in the direction I was traveling. Find my primary curve and open back out. And that is our full combination. Let's walk through it on the left. Real nice and close to this awesome shirt here in case you wanted to get yourself one. Support our tiny, tiny business. Tiny but growing. So from here, we start leg lead. So I lead across in the direction that I want to travel. My arm circles down, lift through the chest, around, leg fans, in, and around. From here, top leg shoots up, sequencing, head is heavy, it's the last thing up, arm over, side stretch. No, my chest is open to the side right now. Then I collapse forward, round, and stretch up. Tuck the toes, chin, chest, roll, roll, round, 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 round. Bring it back down. I've been going toward my right, so I'm going to take my right arm up and my right arm back down. Rolling up. Take my right leg up. Couple bounces. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knee to chest and up. Open that hip and back up. Bring the leg down. We are rolling back all the way into our cobra position. Chin to chest, rounding, look at the stomach. And I keep collapsing in the direction I was traveling to open back up into my X. Cool beans? Now I know that's a lot to digest very quickly, but I'm going to be talking you through the whole way. We're going to try it 2 times on each side just to give it a go. And if you don't get it, you can always rewatch it again later. Giving yourself time and space from the things you don't get the first time is the absolute best thing you can do to give your brain a little break when processing new information. Okay, because the next time you come back to it, it's just going to feel a million times easier than the first time. It'll feel familiar. So let's give it a go. And then I will let you have the rest of your Saturday. So again, I'm going to start curving to my left. I do like to mix up those sides whenever I can. Nice and slow. Leg leads, 7, 8. Leg over, 2, 3, 4. Arm comes down and switch. Arm comes over, leg comes over, other leg follows, arm in. Sitting up and side stretch. Well, we did it. It's a Saturday and we committed anyway. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Saturday. Again, if you would like to order a shirt from us, we do have shirts in all sizes, and they are not black, despite what they look like. They are navy blue. It's just hard to see that on the camera. So we have these for sale, and we will deliver them to you for free or ship them to you. We also, again, as a baby company that is trying to find various ways to support our dancers through this challenging situation, always are accepting donations. So please check out our various options for donating or becoming a longer-term patron with the text that goes with this video. But have a fantastic day. Big shout out to Yoko for making many appearances during this video. C- on participation. It's okay, we'll work on that. And again, shout out to David Vartanian for his awesome titleship of this episode. And we hope to see you guys for future stuff. Always open to recommendations if you have a particular class you would like us to teach. Have a great day and happy Saturday. We have survived a week in quarantine. It's only gonna get better from here, and that's because I say it will. It's gonna happen, right? Yeah. All right, have a good weekend.